What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Darren, the Bowtie Fragrance Guy. Back, got another good video for you guys today. So if this is your first time coming across this channel, listen, if you like fragrances and fashion, I think you may have stumbled upon the right channel. So go ahead and consider, if you don't mind, clicking the subscribe button, and also make sure that you tap that bell icon as well, just to make sure when I upload new content on the channel that you get notified. So guys, you see the title of the video today. I'm going to be talking about 10 affordable must-have fragrances that I think that will be a good addition to any man's collection, really. These fragrances, when I say or use the word affordable, most of these fragrances, from what I understand, can be, or from what I've seen, can be had for under about that $50 price point. Now I know, with different people, the word affordable may mean something different, but in terms of what I'm talking about for this video, again, about that $50 price point or below, you'll be able to find most of the fragrances on this list. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. In my opinion, I think these are some amazing fragrances. Again, proof as always that you don't have to spend a whole lot of money to find a great fragrance. So that's what we're going to be covering today. So if you want to see what fragrances made this list of 10 affordable must-have fragrances, then you know the routine. Keep it locked right here. All right, guys, we're back. Thank you so much for keeping it locked in. Let's go ahead and jump right into the video. Now, before I get to the 10 fragrances that made this list, I do want to give two quick honorable mentions. And the reason that these two fragrances are going to be honorable mentions is because of the fact that, from what I understand, both of them have been discontinued. Now, the first fragrance I want to mention, of course, is a very popular fragrance, but I want to emphasize again, if you don't have it in your collection, I would highly recommend you picking up a bottle on this one, which is Mont Blanc Individuel. Now, you guys know that I love Original Santal, and this reminds me a lot of Original Santal. And again, I think this was pretty much confirmed that this one has been discontinued. Now, the good news is I still have been seeing this fragrance heavily discounted, still in that $25 to $40 range. So while it's still that price, if you don't have a bottle, go ahead and grab this stuff, because again, I think this one has been discontinued. And the other one, I was fortunate to get my hands on this bottle. Shout out to Kenneth, a friend that I know from school. He said it was downsizing his collection, and he had this one in the stash, and I picked it up. Robert Graham Valor. Beautiful coffee note in this. I think it may be some vanilla as well. This is a beautiful fragrance, guys. So this one isn't as accessible as Individual. If you can find it, I did see it on maybe like places like eBay for around the $100, $110 mark. Again, I think it's actually worth that, because this is a very, very well done designer fragrance, and it lasts, for at least 7.5 hours on my skin. So beautiful scent, fall and winter coming up. This is one I'm going to be rocking a lot. Glad I was able to get my hands on a bottle of this. This one is called Valor by Robert Graham. All right, guys. So now that I've given you two honorable mentions, again, those are discontinued. Let's jump into the top 10 fragrances on this list. This fragrance nobody talks about. And I tell you guys all the time, I could care less about how many people are or are not talking about a fragrance. If I like it, I'm going to bring it to your attention. And this one is called Wood Dsquared. This is of course, the male version. I think there's a female version of this fragrance. Now, I think this fragrance was kind of redone, repackaged. I actually had the bottle when it was more on the square like presentation with the wooden outside of the glass, but I found this bottle in a rack store. I think it might have been in a gift set for maybe 30 bucks. And honestly, guys, I think this is so worth it. Now, the hit on this fragrance is the performance. The performance on this is not good at all. I mean, you're talking 3.5, 4 hours if you're lucky. But at that price point, again, I'm not really complaining about performance when I spend $30 on a fragrance. One thing that I've learned from being involved in the process of coming up with a fragrance is that there's so many levels of as it relates to quality of a same fragrance ingredient. Like, you can have varying levels almost on a scale of 1 to 10 almost. So sometimes you use ingredients and notes that are on that lower end as far as the materials that you're using in these fragrances. There are 1, 2, or 3. Then that's where you get the issues with performance. But again, that's why they can sell it for a cheaper price point. But that's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. But again, this one right here, about 30 bucks, and it smells amazing. This is a nice signature scent that you can wear any time of the year, really, in my opinion. It's a nice citrusy opening. I think there's some lemon, some mandarin orange in the opening of this as well. Then it gets a little spicy in the heart, which really, to me, helps to really give this fragrance that versatility piece, because it's actually something I can really wear dressed up. But anyway, guys, check this fragrance out. This one comes, well, I think the name of the house is Dsquared, maybe, but it's called Wood. All right, guys, the next fragrance on this list, this fragrance comes from the brand True Religion, and this is called Drifter. This is called Drifter. This is one that I had my eye on this fragrance for a while. I used to see it online and things of that nature, and I always said to myself, man, I want to pick this up. And one day, lo and behold, I was in Atlanta in a Ross, and they had this fragrance for sale, and I think I picked this up for about 20 bucks maybe. And oh man, especially at that price point, if you can find this for under $40, I think this is a good pickup. This is one I think you would find to be a welcomed addition in your collection. I love the opening of this fragrance. It's a very, very nice fruity opening, but it's more of an exotic kind of vibe that you get in the opening, because there are fruity notes in here that you don't really see used oftentimes in fragrances. You have apricot in this, you have pear and blackberry. So again, a very unique combination of notes that create this beautiful fruity accord in the opening. But the thing about these fragrance notes, or these 3 fruity fragrance notes, is that it's not like an overly sweet vibe that you get from a lot of other fruit notes that you normally come into contact with. This is a little bit more subdued, a little bit more sexy. Really, really like this fragrance. Again, like the first fragrance I talked about, it's not the best performer, but at that price point, I think you're getting a good fragrance for that price. So check this one out from the True Religion brand. This is called Drifter. All right, guys, the next fragrance on the list, we're going to the house of Lacoste, and this one is called L'Homme Intense. This one's called L'Homme Intense. And you guys know I love the original L'Homme because of that beautiful almond accord in that fragrance. Guess what? That same almond accord is in this fragrance, but of course they went with the more kind of darker, more a deeper, darker scent profile with this fragrance compared to the first one. So you still get the almond in this, but they have a beautiful rhubarb accord in the opening of this fragrance. And when it dries down, it gets really, 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 really warm. You have some vanilla in this, Acqu Di Gio Wood. I think Bvlgari is in this as well. So again, when it starts to dry down is really when those this and the original go their separate ways. But again, for an intense flanker, I think they did a great job of kind of giving you that beautiful almond that was the star player of that fragrance, but then of course as it dries down, giving you something more warm, rich, and woody. So check this one out from the house of Lacoste. This is called L'Homme Intense. All right, guys, the next fragrance on the list, we are going to the house of Bentley, and no, it's not Bentley Intense for men, but it's this one right here. It's called Bentley Silverlake. This one's called Silverlake, and really simply put, you've heard a lot of people talk about this. This fragrance, this is a nice kind of aquatic fragrance presentation. And what I love about it, of course, you kind of get those vibes that you get from like Acqu Di Gio Profondo. Again, for me, this fragrance really reminds me a lot of Profondo. And it's just a really refreshing, crisp, clean, very uplifting fragrance to wear in the warm weather. So at the price point that you're gonna pay for this, you're getting a really, really quality fragrance. And that is something that I'm finding to be kind of the case across the board with Bentley fragrances. You're gonna get a great quality at a low price, and that's always a winning combination. So check this one out from the house of Bentley. This is called Bentley for Men Silverlake. All right, guys, now the next fragrance on this list, to me, this fragrance is so slept on. That is crazy. This one comes from the house of Mont Blanc, and this is called Emblem Intense. Emblem Intense. Now this fragrance is sweet, is warm, is aromatic. This stuff is so good, man. I love there's an apple note in here, and I said before, I love the note of apple. It has apple in this, a little bit of rose. You get a nice hint of rose in the background. Man, but this fragrance to me is really about those sweeter notes. You have tonka bean in this, You have suede, so it's a really sweet and warm fragrance. This is one that you want to have in your collection in the fall, especially in the winter time, because it's really going to give you a really warm and cozy feel. And you know, again, that's something that I really like and appreciate about this fragrance. To me, of course, I always say Mont Blanc fragrances overall are really a great bang for your buck fragrance house to take a look at, and this one right here is no different. So for me, this is a cool weather staple. So check it out from the house of Mont Blanc. This is called Emblem Intense. All right, guys, the next fragrance on the list is definitely a classic in the community, but it's one I haven't talked about a lot on the channel. I mean, this was done a long time ago, but to me, it is still one that I think that is an affordable fragrance must-have. So this one comes from the house of Versace, and this is The Dreamer. This is The Dreamer. This is one of those fragrances that reminds me of my journey in the fragrance community. And when I first got in, one of those fragrances that I picked up and I really was in love with it. I love the tobacco in this fragrance. It's not one of those kind of deep, what I would say more of a deep, wet kind of tobacco vibe. This is more a dry, leafy tobacco that you get in this. This is very powdery. Fragrance is very soapy as well and clean, and that comes from that lavender. A lot of people say this smells like Irish Spring soap, and that's exactly what, you know, if I were to describe it and be very practical, that's really what this fragrance reminds me of. But it's a beautiful scent, one that's great, a must-have, of course, in your collection when you talk about affordable fragrances. So if you don't have it, check this one out from the house of Versace. This one is called Versace The Dreamer. All right, guys, the next fragrance on the list, this one comes from the house of Salvatore Ferragamo, and this is called Uomo. It is simply called Uomo, and I'm pretty sure you guys have heard a lot about this fragrance. To me, it's seemingly not as accessible as it used to be, but man, check this out. Beautiful. If you love gourmands, you're gonna love this fragrance right here because of that tiramisu note. It is sweet and it is sexy, and it's perfect for like a date night, cold weather. So if you don't have this one yet, man, make sure you put your nose on this one from the house of Salvatore Ferragamo. This is called Uomo. All right, guys, the next fragrance on the list, we're going with another classic fragrance. Again, I'm talking about affordable must-have fragrances on this list, and this is one that I haven't talked about in a while that I felt needed to be on this list from the house of Burberry. This is called Burberry London. Burberry London. And this particular fragrance by far was my first love fragrance from the house of Burberry. And I love it because it has that beautiful cinnamon note in here. Cinnamon, mimosa, leather. It also has some tobacco on here as well. Just a well done fragrance, man. This is such, this fragrance reminds me so much of the holidays, especially the Christmas season, for everything that it is and what it smells like. Beautiful scent. Again, if you never put your nose on Burberry London, please do yourself a favor and find yourself a bottle of this stuff, because the last time I checked, you can still get it for under that $50 price point, but it's a classic and a must-have in your fragrance collection. So from the house of Burberry, love the bottle. Check this one out. This is called Burberry London. All right, guys, the next fragrance on this list comes from the house of Bvlgari, and this is called Aqua Atlantique. Aqua Atlantique, definitely an affordable fragrance must-have, man, especially, of course, spring, summertime. This stuff is absolutely amazing. It's got those same vibes that you get from like Dylan Blue. You've heard this, Dior Sauvage. Combine those two things in a bottle and you get this stuff right here. So at the price point that you're gonna pay for this stuff, I would say definitely it falls into that must-have category because it's so good. I mean, it took some of the great elements from two of the more popular designer fragrances from the past 5 or 6 years and put it in this bottle. So get this one in your collection, man, from the house of Bvlgari. It's called Aqua Atlantique. All right, guys, and last but not least, the #1 fragrance on this list comes from another car company, this time Mercedes-Benz, and this is called Mercedes-Benz Club Black. Mercedes-Benz Club Black. And man, listen, this stuff is just good, guys. This one reminds me a lot of, what's it called, from Carner, Barcelona. It's called El Born. That really nice, nutty, creamy, sweet vanilla vibe that you get from Carner, Barcelona. El Born is the same thing you get in this fragrance right here. I remember smelling this fragrance a long time ago in one of those like perfume manias or something like that. I think we were at like a outlet mall and I smelled it there. But of course, They wanted like 90 or 110 bucks for them. Like, nah, I'm not paying that for it. And then it got discontinued, and I was very disappointed because it was hard to find. And then maybe about 5-6 months ago, this thing resurfaced, and I made sure that I got a bottle of this stuff because, oh man, if you love a nice vanilla fragrance with a nice kind of creamy, warm undertone and vibe to it, then this is one that I'm sure that you're gonna love. So get this in your collection if you can, from the house of Mercedes. This is Mercedes-Benz Club Black. All right, guys, that's it. That's my time. I hope you enjoyed this video as I gave you 10 affordable must-have fragrances for your collection. As always, I appreciate your time and your attention to these videos because, of course, you could have been anywhere else in the world, man, but you took a few moments to watch, and I sincerely appreciate that. Now, don't forget to take a few moments to go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe, and share these videos out to folks that you think could use this information or find it entertaining, because I'm your guy, Darian, the bow-tie fragrance guy. I love looking good, and of course, I love to smell absolutely amazing. So until next time, guys, keep looking good, keep smelling even better. I'll catch you on the flip side. Peace.